as the tradition goes, this is the mental break time. If we were in the class, there would be a physical break, but here you are at your home. You can take the physical break at any time. You can pause a lecture, or you can pause after lecture A or B or whatever. So this time we will go to some biochemistry, right? Biochemistry, the chemistry of biological systems, the chemistry of what is happening inside the human body, the chemistry of what is happening inside an animal body. Right? So these are some facts. Vodka plus water injures or harms the kidney. Rum plus water injures the liver. Whiskey plus water injures the heart. Gin plus water injures the brain. The right hand side is okay. Kidney, liver, heart, brain, these are very critical organs inside your body. So these things harm or injure your things. On the left, maybe you know these words, maybe you do not. You see alcoholic drinks, you can say haram haram, but this is just a joke, right? So alcoholic drinks are there. Wines have generally less alcohol, beers have more alcohol, but these are very serious hard drinks. Vodka, rum, whiskey, gin, these are very seriously hard drinks. So now these facts are there. People have done the biochemistry and they have done the experiments, and these are there. So what is the conclusion from these 4 biochemistry science experimental results? Right? You are a scientist and you say, oh, everywhere water is here, water is here, water is here, water is here. So the main culprit is water. I think there is something wrong in water, right? Because this is the only one thing which is common everywhere. So from all these 4, what your conclusion is that water is dangerous. So you should go for vodka and rum and so on, but do not use water. Joke finished. So we were on true stress and true strain, right? So now let me show you a diagram. This is a real diagram. This is a low carbon steel, which is a normal steel, low carbon steel. And this is the stress in kilo psi, kpsi. This is the strain. And this is the engineering stress strain diagram. Engineering stress strain diagram of the same material, the black one. And the red one is the true stress strain diagram of the same material. True stress strain diagram, right? So this is generally the case. We told you in the previous slide that true stress is always larger than the engineering stress. The reason being that in engineering stress, you divide the current force by the original area, which is large, and during the tensile test, the area keeps on reducing. So in the true stress, you divide the current force by the current area, which is smaller. So same force divided by a smaller number gives you a larger total number, so the stress is higher. But the other thing which is very strange here is that the way you measure ductility, the ductility measured based on engineering strain is only about 0.3, only about 30%. The ductility measured in engineering is about 80% or more. So this can be there, right? It is only for one low carbon steel. It does not mean that the stress strain diagram for true and engineering will be so different for all the other materials also, right? They can be very close to each other also. The only thing will be that the red one will be higher than the black one, okay? Here we are doing a schematic diagram now. We are back to a schematic diagram, and we are now trying to show you all the different values that we have studied until now. And here we are showing you that this light blue, this is dark blue, this is light blue. So this dark blue is the engineering stress strain and this light blue is the true stress strain. But here we have taken an example where the final value is the same in ductility, right? That this stress is higher, of course. It is not as high as in the previous diagram, but it is much high. But the total amount of ductility is roughly the same. So this can be that the true stress is definitely always higher than the engineering stress. How high? It depends on the material, and whether the ductility shown will be higher or lower or the same is different. So now you see, this is the yield point. This is the yield point. If you remember your earlier courses, the proportionality limit, where the proportionality ends and so on, and the yield, right? So, but for us, all of these three are the same points. All of these three are the same points. And then there is, if in some materials, the yielding goes on for some time at a constant stress, and then the stress starts to increase. So this can be there. It may be that after this point, the curve directly goes curve, right? After this point, it directly goes to curve. That is also possible. And after this point, there may be a roughly horizontal line. This is also possible. So both are possible in real materials. And then the curve starts to rise. The curve starts to rise and it reaches the ultimate strength or the maximum point, and finally it reaches the fracture point. So it is the yield point, it is the end of the yield region, it is the highest point, which is the ultimate, and it is the fracture point. Now by character, if we divide it into two portions, the whole curve, then this is an elastic region and there is a plastic region. Yes, until the end of the yield point, until here, or the straight line for metals, it is the elastic region. And after that, whether it is yielding here or there in the curve, it has started permanent deformation. So from here till here is the plastic region. So elastic region, plastic region. This is one way of seeing it. The other way is now that divide it into proper regions. So this is the elastic region, yes. If this type of a rough straight line is there, then this is the yield region, yielding region. From yield point until ultimate, there is a region called strain hardening. Strain hardening. We will tell you later on what it is. And from the ultimate to the fracture point is called the necking region. The necking region, right? So elastic region, yielding region, strain hardening region, necking region. The names of first, second and last are very simple. Right, this is the elastic region because this is where the material is elastic. You remove the load, all deformation will be gone. This is the yield region because there is almost constant stress equal to the yield stress of the material, and there is plastic deformation. So this is the yielding region, okay. And here, of course, once you cross the ultimate, necking will start to happen, and ultimately there will be a fracture. So this is the necking region. So these names, elastic, yielding and necking, look to be correct names because they make sense. But when we go from the yield point to the ultimate point, the stress keeps on increasing and it is plastic region. This is called a strain hardening region. A strain hardening region. So stop your slide here, take a pause and try to open your mind that you know quite a lot of material science even before this course through your different basic courses. And now, of course, we are in the fourth week. So you are already pretty good in material science, and we have tried to increase your thinking ability, that please look at the same things that you know from before, but try to think more like a scientist and like an engineer and so on. So why is this region named strain hardening region? What has strain got to do with it? And what does the word hardening mean? So please pause here, take a minute, think, try to think as much as you can, stretch your brain and try. Always I tell you that the names, the words are there because there is a meaning. Yielding is there because it has yielded. Earlier it was not giving any permanent deformation, now permanent deformation is there. So the word yielding. Ultimate strength, yes, because this is the highest point on the curve. So the word ultimate means correctly. Necking, yes. Earlier the dia was changing, but it was a constant dia throughout. Now in the same material, there is a smaller dia in the neck region. So a neck has formed, right? So always the words have a meaning. So now 1 minute of your thought. Why do you call it a strain hardening region? Okay, now you have come back from the pause. If it was an actual class, you would have given different reasons. Why is the word strain there? No idea. Hardening means what? You see, in English, to harden means to increase the hardness. Something was soft and you have done something so it has hardened. We are doing that to you all the time, all through your education. Mentally, you were soft in school, then you were harder in Sanivia. Now you are becoming even harder. Your mental strength is increasing. Right? Your mental strength was at a lower level, but now you can think more, you can solve more. So we are hardening you in terms of your intellect. Also physically, as you grow up, when you are a child, you are more soft. When you grow, so you keep on growing and your body becomes stronger and harder. And we have told you earlier that strength and hardness go together, right? This we have told you. We have discussed perhaps. But if I have not, then I am telling you now that if a material is stronger, it is also harder. This is a fact. If you measure the hardness, we will go to definition of hardness and so on later. But if you measure the hardness of a material and you measure the strength of a material, then you measure the hardness and strength of another material. If this new metal is stronger in the tensile test, then it will be harder in the hardness test. So this you should know, that hardness is high means strength is high. Strength is low means hardness is low, right? So this is there. Okay. So now remember, when we were describing plastic or elastic, the main thing was not the loading, the main thing was the unloading, right? Do you remember that when after applying the load, when you remove the load, when you unload, then what happens? Isn't it? So that is critical, that if you are in the elastic region, when you offload, when you remove the load, all the deformation is gone. But when you are in the plastic region, when you offload, some permanent deformation is still there. So let me try to show you here. You see, if you are until here, when you offload, you go back to 0. But if you are here, how will you offload? You see, remember your 0.2% yield strength type of thing. You make a line which is parallel to your elastic line. When you offload, you have loaded, you have increased the load, you are here. When you offload, you have a parallel line to this one. So this is your point. So there is now a permanent deformation. This much of a strain is permanently there. So the word strain, that because this region is the plastic region, remember, this is the plastic region. Plastic region means permanent strain is there. Elastic region means permanent strain is 0. So the word strain means that you are plastically straining it. So once you have offloaded it, it comes to this point. So there is a lot of permanent strain here. Now if you use the same material again, then you will start to load it from here. You understand? Permanent strain is not 0, permanent strain is here now. So the next time you use the same material, the line will be like this, and it will be here. So your yield point is now here compared to here. The yield strength of the material has increased. So by applying a strain in the plastic region, offloading the material and using it again, the yield strength of the material is higher. So the material has strengthened. So you can say strain strengthening. But because it is tough to say, but just now we said if strength is higher, hardness is also higher. So therefore you call it strain hardening.